It's quite sexy. All right, we are at the 8 o'clock mark. So, hey, y'all, hey, it's your girl KiKi, and this is a Damn Shame podcast. Thank y'all so much for being here. Again, we have our aromatherapy popping, clary sage, which also creates a feeling of sexual excitement. So, get in the mood. Be sure to order your cocktails and your mocktails because you're going to need it tonight. It's a whole vibe. It is a whole vibe. So, listen, y'all. Our special guest tonight is none other than this sexy man on the screen here tonight. All right. I am welcoming him as a first time VIPer in the VIP lounge, Mr. Rocco Seymour. Okay. And let me just give you an introduction about him. He is a kink enthusiast, he is also a filmmaker who enjoys filming, but also loves to be filmed himself. Ow, ow, okay. And as y'all can see why, right? And he is the host of Rated R podcast. You can find his show on YouTube at Rocco Seymour. Be sure to look him up, Seymour. On Instagram, you can find him at Rocco_Sensei, SENSEI. Welcome, 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 Rocco.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I appreciate the platform. Thank you so much.
Oh my goodness. We have a lot going on in the culture before we really get to the main event tonight. Y'all, I am super excited to see that our girls, black girls of the Louisiana State University basketball team won their first NCAA championship. Y'all, how dope is that? I'm telling you, after all this time. And I just found out that I know the mother of Miss Angel Reese, who is, I guess, like the captain of the LSU team. And she's getting a lot of flack. Like, she's catching a lot of flack that she made this John Cena move, like, you can't see me. And her rival, Miss Caitlin Clark, by the way, is no one to sleep on. I mean, this girl was just putting them in 3-pointers. The girl didn't miss, okay? But she made the same gesture, of course, a white woman. And now Angel is getting all the heat for it. And I'm like, when are we gonna have equality? You know, with two girls having a little healthy camaraderie and the black one wins. It's a damn shame. That's all I'm gonna say about that. But tonight is the men's final for the NCAA. I can't wait. After this podcast, I'm gonna go watch. I like watching it in the fourth quarter. So, um, and then the grand jury has finally voted to indict Trump. After all this time, grabbing him by the pee and grabbing him by the pee, then finally caught up with him. Okay, so listen, that's a damn shame. It'll be interesting to see how all that unfolds. But y'all, Mr. Rocco Seymour, kink enthusiast. When I stumbled across his IG page, I was like, oh, hell yeah. I have got to have him here. So my goal, because week after week, we had some heavy conversations, right? But tonight, I just want to lighten the mood. There's so much stress that surrounds us daily. We constantly deal with the ebb and flow of life. And it really gets to be overwhelming. So if you're anything like me and you're looking for some ways to unwind, certainly, we can go get a massage and all of that. But if you want to truly unwind, what better way than to have some amazing sex? All right. Ow, ow. I'm not just talking any kind of sex. I'm talking some good, sensual, hot, passionate, kinky sex. All right. So tonight we are taking our sexual pleasures to a whole new level. And Mr. Rocco is going to help us. level of adult play is sure to give you an explosive orgasm. Okay, VIPs, did y'all order y'all cocktails and mocktails? Because I'm ready, and I hope y'all are ready to go on this kinky journey with me. Cheers. Look at you, modest, with a nice coffee cup and all of that.
To be completely honest, there's alcohol in there. I recently moved, so I didn't have time to get out the good glassware.
Hey, whatever works, okay? So let's talk about this. Can you explain to the VIPs and the newly VIPs, now that y'all are here in the VIP lounge, what is exactly a kink enthusiast?
I'm glad you asked. So, a kink enthusiast, it's something that a phrase that I believe I kind of coined. I didn't want to call myself like a dom. I didn't want to call myself an expert. I wanted to maintain the presence of someone who's excited about being here, someone who's still exploring, and someone who is just looking to bring the community to the forefront. So usually when someone's an enthusiast, they have a lot of knowledge about something, and they have a personality that can bring whatever that thing is to the mainstream. So you have like wine enthusiasts, food enthusiasts. I really dig the kink culture, so I wanted to become a kink enthusiast, keep learning about it, keep exploring it, and keep finding ways to bring the kink community to the mainstream.
I absolutely love that. That is so good. So, who do we have in the live? I see a lot of comments flowing. Again, be sure to hit that follow button or that subscribe or like button. If you're on Instagram, YouTube, or Facebook, we're streaming live at Damn Shame Podcast, and also Rocco_Sensi. Y'all follow the brother because we are going on a journey tonight. So, nightlife, who do you see?
We got the Virgo Vixen, Tia and the violin. Scrump at Night is in the house.
Hey.
A. Crawley, Keeps Greatness, Sade, Rochelle, Erotica, Naughty Nights, New York City. There's a whole lot of them in here to see Rocco and KiKi.
All right. Y'all come get kinky with Rocco and KiKi tonight, baby. I'm telling you, it's about to go down. So can you tell me what is the difference, or if there is any difference, between kink and BDSM?
So that's a great question too. Kink is a term that can be used to describe anything that would extend beyond like typical sex. It's sex related, but it extends beyond typical sex. And then BDSM is a specific form of like bondage, dominatrix, sadism, and masochism. So you can have a kink for, let's say, latex, but that doesn't necessarily become a part of like being whipped or being scratched. Like you just want to see someone maybe wearing latex. It's a branch of BDSM, but it wouldn't be considered BDSM. It's like you have a kink for latex. You have a kink for a certain type of material, or a kink for a certain type. I'm sorry, someone just dropped the drink in on me. So
hey, that's the VIP lounge. Order your cocktails and your mocktails. Be sure to share this live.
But yeah, like I have a thing for nails, right? Like some people have a thing for feet, but that doesn't necessarily fall into the branch of BDSM. Like BDSM is a more, not a stricter term, but it outlines a certain section of the community.
And so when you say you have a thing for nails, you like to be scratched.
Well, that falls into it too, but I love just seeing like a really nice set of nails on a woman. I love some men comment on them and say, how can you do anything with nails that long? But I just love to see how creative women can get with their nail techs.
Yeah. So what about, are there rules to being a kinkster?
Absolutely. In fact, one thing that I really love about the community is that you can't really act up in this community. In order for you to even go to a play party, you have to let people know who you know, let them know how long you've been a part of the community and what your intentions are when you come to their events. So that way they can regulate who's a part of the community and who's not. They don't necessarily gatekeep, but they do try to make sure if you're going to be a part of this, just know that this is not going to be some, do whatever I want, sleazy F-boy type of environment. You got to be a stand-up type of person to be in this community. Otherwise, you will be outed and everyone will know like who you really are. Yes. Really? This community sticks together. Yes, that's one thing I love about the kink community. If you act up, if you are using your powers for evil, you'll be outed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about these powers because I heard you use that term before we even went live. So I like to think that I have a lot of power.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of sex appeal. Could sex appeal be my power?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely, because you can turn that on and turn it off whenever you like. You can use it to your advantage. You can use it to get you out of situations, So, yeah, and with great power comes great responsibility. So that you can't even go around certain people a certain way because you're going to get them aroused. So.
Oh, shit. That's what I'm talking about. Come on. Hey, producer lady, who we have on Facebook and IG? I mean, Facebook and YouTube.
Hey, we have Terrence Scott. We have Keisha. We have Robin, Demetria. They're saying, look, they got their pen and paper ready for tonight's conversation. One says, I'm ready for the kinky convo. And I'm about to drop in the chat asking everybody what's their superpowers. Because, hey, I didn't realize I got to tap into my own. So let's get this conversation going.
Yeah, we got some superpowers. Nightlife got some shout outs as well.
Yeah, come on, shit fear. Leilani likes. Robert, I am the legend.
Hey.
Just Me 71. Sumo the Fat Ninja. Dwindle It. DC Fashion. Cherries to Sense. Golden Goddess. Little Prism. Get Saucy. Hendrix Designs. TA80.
Everybody.
Bounce Boy. Liquor Talk Podcast. Come on, it just keeps going on. They ready to get with it.
We right sexy here in the VIP lounge. Y'all be sure to order. Security, let my VIPs in. Y'all order your cocktails, your mocktails. We are going in tonight. So I love to hear, that there is a respect level in this community and that we have superpowers. What would you say your superpower is?
I would say that my superpower is the ability to be, I can dominate or I can be submissive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I have the ability to empower a woman by being submissive. And then I also have the power of empowering that woman by dominating her and letting her know what she's capable of.
Mm-hmm. So how do you introduce kink to your partner or someone that you're in a relationship that might not be a part of the community, that you didn't meet in the community?
That's a great question. And the reason being is that nowadays, what would be considered kinky is now kind of becoming normal. So you have a lot of women these days saying, yes, please choke me, spank me, let me scratch your back and things like that. So, but oddly enough, I would say recently, now that I've become a member of the kink community, most of the people that I interact with just so happen to be also kink enthusiasts or practitioners or part of the lifestyle. So I've been lucky enough to, not find any like conservative church going ladies that have caught my eye. So.
Hey, I'm one of them conservative church going ladies, but she likes to get it in as well. So don't discredit us now. Don't count us out. Shit. I'm telling you. I like that, so that is your experience, but let's give the VIPs some tips on what to do if their partner is not a part of the kink community, but you want to kind of introduce this into the environment of your relationship.
Absolutely. So I would say that if you are dating someone and they're not necessarily kinky, it's important to let them know how it makes you feel at first and why it makes you happy. You definitely don't want to start with telling them like what they're not doing. You want to let them know like, hey, you know what? I would really appreciate it if maybe you did this a little bit more and see how they feel about it. But always just let them know it's coming from a place of your happiness. You never want to start with a deficit. That's what happens a lot. People tell people what they're not doing as opposed to telling them what they could be doing. So that's how I would start with easing my partner in.
Yeah. Yeah. So they're in the chat talking about their superpowers. There's a whole conversation going on. Nightlife, you want to share some of the superpowers that you see?
Get Saucy said, my superpower is I can tell when a man ain't shit. Okay. What a superpower.
Oh, what a superpower. I'm telling y'all get in the comments, IG, YouTube, Facebook. What are your superpowers? And if you don't know what they are, then that's fine too. I mean, and let's be clear. My superpower is sometimes boring, but hey, I'm trying to spice it up. That's why we're here tonight, to learn how we can just, take this thing to another experience that you might not have had before. So let's talk about dirty talk, because a lot of people aren't comfortable with, oh, spank this ass. Oh, let me ride it. Some people are very quiet. And I'm like, hello, knock, 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 knock. Are you there? Shit.
Right.
Tell the girl something.
Yeah. Dirty talk is definitely an art form. And the reason why I say that is because some women can contest to this. Sometimes you don't even have to be touched. A man can just whisper in your ear a certain way, and that can trigger something, some waterfalls. So dirty talk is definitely an art form. I don't necessarily have the formula for it, but I would say to speak on how you feel or what you might want them to do. Those are some things that will facilitate dirty talk, like, letting them know, like, oh my, I can't tell you what I would say, but I usually let my partner know how I feel. I check in with them. I ask them questions. Sometimes, believe it or not, that's a form of dirty talk. Do you like this? Does this feel good? Can I go harder? Can I go faster? Little things like that. Yeah, look at you, see? It's the simple things. Simple things.
Hell yeah. I like that, because that's engaging your partner in, is this shit working or not? Because what I do know is that sometimes dirty talk can be corny. Like, oh, I just have heard some corny stuff that has just completely turned me off. And I'm like, don't talk, just listen.
There you go. And that's why some people, believe it or not, that's why some people are afraid to do it, because they feel like you got to improvise. You got to do it on the fly. What if I say something that's not sexy? What if it comes out wrong? What if I stutter? So well, some people just go silent.
Okay, we got some more comments going. They are flying. I'm telling you. Come on, Nightlife.
Okay, so look, Nighty Night, New York City says my superpower is making people feel comfortable. Another one, Shit Fear, says that their superpower is to the ability to make people feel at peace and or fall asleep in my presence. Now, Pray, Grind, and Bless says my superpower is the control when I'm riding that horse with no words.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
And naughty, someone else wants to know, well, tell us what you want to hear with that naughty talk or whatever.
Yeah, so I want to hear, am I doing a good goddamn job? Like, I want some feedback. Oh, baby, no, get your big ass. Because this shit is not feeling good, Or, oh, yeah, baby, this shit is good, it's wet, it's hot. I need to hear all the things, good and bad, because, again, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to tell my partner, nah, ninja, this ain't working for me. Let's slide it over. Let's move it there. So I do. I like, daddy, you feel good, baby, you there. Let me know when you come in. I need to hear all that. I need all of that, all the things.
Yeah,
those little check-ins. Yeah.
Facts. Praise me. Let me know.
Yeah. And we need to, establish. First of all, I feel like if you're in, this, a relationship, but you're not always in a relationship and still have the dialogue going, but you need to have that openness to be able to share. We're older now, so we need to be able to communicate what the hell we want in the bedroom and outside the bedroom. And that's just what I think about that.
Believe in well, in addition to what you just said, one of my favorite first date questions, or if I'm getting to know somebody, a new partner, I ask them, what makes you come?
Ooh.
What makes you come? Let's just let me know how to get you to the mountaintop. That way there's no mystery about it. You know what I mean? And then from there we could work backwards and figure out, how did you find out that made you come? When was the first time you did it? And, you know, it can go deeper like that. I recommend everybody, if you're listening to this podcast, this is my jewel to you, especially if you're a man. Ask that person what makes you come. They'll be grateful that you care, that you want to make them come. So,
Yeah. I would be intrigued. What makes me come? Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Hey,
So
y'all,
listen.
we got a question in the chat coming from YouTube saying that, but isn't it fun to explore and find out what they like versus asking them? What's the
So
fun in
for
that?
IG, if you cannot hear producer lady, she is reading the comments over in YouTube and Facebook, and one came in that, you know, why ask the question? Shouldn't you? What was it, producer lady?
Why ask what they like? Isn't it fun to explore and find out?
Why ask what they like? Isn't it fun to explore what they like?
well, absolutely. Oh, I'm sorry. Were you going to answer that?
No. I want you to answer it.
I would say, yeah, absolutely. It is fun to explore and find out what they're like. In the kink community, we do prioritize like hard limits and soft limits. So we like to find out like what's something you're comfortable with trying out, what's something you're kind of comfortable with trying out, what's something you definitely don't want to try out. So, you know, you can explore, you can find out. I would say when it comes to exploring, you can explore by finding out what spot on their neck gets them the wettest when you lick it. That's exploring. But you don't want to explore and find out that they don't like their butthole being played with. You know what I mean? By accident. Like you don't want to accidentally find out that that's something that they're not into. You know what I mean? So definitely explore, but you want to mix in some of that, those soft limits and those hard limits and find out what they're comfortable with before you do explore.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. So when we were younger, right? Because I'm over 40. When we were younger, we most times had to, you know, when we started having sex early on, we had to sneak down in the basement of our parents' home, and we had to be quiet. And, you know, if we wanted to please ourselves, you know, and masturbate, we had to do that kind of in silence and, you know, privately, and we couldn't be open and free with it, right? And so my question is, a lot of times you will hear that now we have taken this into our more adult lives, like now, you know, where we are having sex and fucking quietly and masturbating and not wanting anybody to see it and all of that. How do we break those habits that were kind of established when we were younger?
Great question. I would say one thing that definitely helps is play parties. And I know that might sound like a huge leap, but that's one of the reasons why people get involved in the community and why they go to play parties is because they're like, I want to do something in a space where I can be vulnerable and accepted. And these are environments where you can generally be vulnerable and be accepted. These are other people who went through the same thing you went through, where they had to masturbate quietly when their mom went to the grocery store. That was the only time that they had to themselves. You know, they had to do it with headphones on or one headphone on and half the volume down so they could listen for the door opening, you know? So a lot of us have those same experiences. We were repressed as youth, but we connect with other people who might have also been repressed and we let those desires out. That's why the kink community one of the reasons why it exists.
I agree. I definitely agree. I definitely think, you know, the more that we get out there and explore, like you said, that will open us up to feeling a little more comfortable with, you know, doing the things that we used to do in private, you know, being younger.
I would say also, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Starting out with your partner, because the first time that I watched porn with another person was with a girlfriend of mine. She didn't have a great reaction to it, her reaction was she was adverse to it. She didn't enjoy the type of porn that I liked. But then I didn't stop there. Because of that encounter, I then, any other partner I had, I would watch porn with them and find out what kind of porn they like. And then it started to become more of a conversation. So, yeah, definitely starting out with your partners might be a good place as well.
Nice. So we know how kink impacts us physically, right? But let's talk about the whole mental stimulation of being a kinkster and what comes with, the kinky play for adults now.
Definitely. So some people use kink as a way to like therapy, if you will, to maybe sometimes relive moments or to get the things that they didn't get at a certain point in life. Someone mentioned in the chat that they have a good girl kink. So in some forms, kink could be therapy in that way, where you're finally being called a good girl. No one ever called you a good girl, or someone's calling you a bad girl because maybe that's actually what you needed. So there is something called a space. So if you're a dominatrix, there's something called like a dom space. There's different terms for it because there's like a subspace and a dom space, but it's a mental state that you enter that allows you to be okay with what's about to happen to you. Now, when you partake in kink, it's very important that the person who's administering this pain to you or this praise to you is there to do something called aftercare. So you do enter a state of mind that's euphoric or slightly traumatic in a sense. And afterwards, that person who did that to you has to sit with you, talk with you, take care of you, and make sure that you come down well. Yeah, a lot of people, because you got to think about this, right? If you're a dom, I'm whipping someone, I'm scratching them, I'm choking them, I'm calling them names. Maybe I don't feel good about that afterwards all the time, So yeah, there's this. Yeah, it's called. I call it coming down. There's other terms for it in the kink community, but you basically are leaving that space and you're having a withdrawal, from that space. You're thinking about the things that you did. So it can have an effect on you, but that's why it's so important to, when you do things like this, that you've had workshops prior, that you know what you're doing, and that if you're a consumer, that you're working with a dom who's been doing it long enough to make sure that they do that aftercare. Aftercare is a priority in the kink community to avoid leaving people in the wrong mental state after the session. Oh, it's called the sub drop or a top drop. That's another term for it.
Thank you, Kitten Ellie. Sub drop or top drop. It is a form of aftercare. So you want to check in with your partner to make sure, hey, you good? I'm here for you. Or, what would you do that on me? Give me some.
Yeah, of course. So, we just went through a whole hour.
You choked the shit out of me.
I choked you. I called you a little slut. I told you were worthless. I spit in your face. I smacked you. Excuse me. So now that that's all done, I have to make sure that your neck is okay. Can you breathe? Are you all right? I didn't really mean those things that I was saying. We were just having fun. I'm here for you. Can I run a shower for you right now?
Yes.
Can I rub your back? Yeah, that's good for you. Okay, perfect. Good. And you just bring them back to that mindset that they were in before the session. That way they feel healthy and normal and whole.
So that person, so forgive my ignorance, that part of you're worthless. I'm a girl. I'm from Baltimore, okay? And sometimes she seeps out. So I would be like, how do you not get that? Because I know you're in New York, right? So how do you not, and New Yorkers can bring it.
Yeah.
Like, how do you not get that? What? I guess because you're in this space of being kinky, your role playing is what I'm hearing.
Yes, technically, yes, right? But you got those people who are called brats, right? So you got your tops, your bottoms, or rather, I'm sorry, your doms and your subs. And then you got people who are called brats. A brat is someone who will do what you said. Like you'll administer pain to them or you'll tell them to do something and they might not do it right away. So then you, as a good dom or a good dominatrix, you need to have your ass whipping abilities on point to where they feel like they cannot step out of those boundaries. So I was lucky enough. I went to Texas and I saw this dominatrix. Her name was Madame Carmen. Madame Carmen had me scared to even breathe the wrong way. So if a dom is really good or your dominatrix is really good, they will have you scared to move a inch. Like you won't want to breathe the wrong way. You don't want to say nothing without their permission. They'll get that fear into you. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
And I believe that it would lend to making the sex in itself more intense.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. Especially because there's something called like edging or denial, where the person will tease you and tease you and tease you and then say, nope, you can't come. And just watch you. And just sit there and just watch you suffer. So yeah, there's levels to it.
Wow. And I had a question about edging. So I am happy that you brought that up. But since we are there, let's explain that term edging for the new ones. I think I kind of do edging myself, and tell me if this not, that ain't it. Like, I love the little, what is the egg-shaped shit?
The rose?
No, it's like a little egg thing. Oh God, what is it? It's my favorite toy. And it's a clitoral stimulation, right?
Okay.
And so while I am like, it has different levels to it, right? And so if I know that I'm about to come, I'll turn it down. Is that like edging? Is that edging? I'm fucking edging. Oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And that is so, I'm like, nah, fuck this. I'm not ready yet. Like, let me slow it down.
Yeah, that's it. That's pretty much it right there. Whenever you stop the person from, whenever you prevent yourself from coming so that you can extend the session, you are technically edging. Yes.
Wow.
Well, someone said it might be called the bullet.
Yes, the bullet. Yes, the bullet. I couldn't even think of that little thing. Yes, the bullet. Whoever the fuck invented the bullet, they are genius. Like that shit is just, it does wonders. But yes, the whole edging thing, like I want to, but no, not yet. And you just want to extend the pleasure. Is that what it is?
Yeah, that all right. So that's one way of looking at it, is that you want to extend the pleasure. Some people look at it as torture because you're not letting them come. Like you get them to the point and then you stop. So it can be either or. For someone like myself, it's more of a pleasure thing. It's like, yeah, I want to keep this going. But for some people, it's like, why did you stop? I was almost there. It's a common thing that women deal with, right? Like you edge, it's not consensual edging. It's like you didn't want him to stop, but he just did. And now you're on edge all night. So
yes, and you mad as shit, okay? And that's a damn shame. That's a damn shame. I'm like, all right, we got to do something to help me out now. So yeah. Oh my goodness, you are really hitting some good, valuable information. Y'all, please get in those comments. Do we have anything else, Nightlife?
Let's see. Rose is better to me. That's what Pray Grind Bless said. Get Saucy says, so I'm a heterosexual dom. Somebody Shitfear is familiar with Carmen and said Carmen is so good and you're a good boy when you're with her. Just Me 71 said we're gonna fight if someone spits in my face. All right.
So they would be a brat.
Technically, yes. But you see, with that being said, the person who didn't want to get spit in the face, when you sign up to have a session with a dom, they usually have a form that they have you fill out, letting them know like what you're okay with and what you're not okay with. That way they can, avoid those things. But then, like I said, you got some of those limits where you're like, I'm kind of okay with this. Like, I'm kind of okay with being spit in the face. So they gotta.
So what I'm hearing is that there's a whole application process for this shit.
Yep.
I love it.
Yep. There's
I love
whole
it because that
applications.
creates the safe environment that you're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely,
Wow. That's
absolutely.
amazing. That's amazing. Y'all keep the comments coming on YouTube, Facebook, IG. Y'all, I hope y'all are enjoying this. So let's talk about some kinds of kink play, right? You talked about pain earlier, right? And some
Right.
like the feeling of pain, it turns them on. How do you find that comfortable place, and it doesn't become like so harmful where you're like, oh, fuck this, I don't want it no more, you know? And like, how do you get to the point, like, are you getting paddled, are you, what is it? Explain all the things when it
Yeah,
comes to pain.
of course. So what happens is when it first kicks off, usually what happens is you try to find out what their pain threshold is. So you'll start out with something light, and then you'll try to escalate. You will, before the session, develop some sort of a system with them. A lot of people use the green light, red light, yellow light system,
Mhm.
something universal. Green light means go, yellow light means slow down or modify something, red light means stop completely. So if you're in a session, and it's an agreement that you are going to get hurt, but if you feel like the pain is getting too intense, then you can say, hey, red light or yellow light. Me, I never go red light. I usually go yellow light. I really try to avoid red light because I want to get my money's worth. But you can do that: green light, yellow light, red light, and that will let your dom know if they're doing too much or not.
Yeah, yeah. I like that. So are you spanking or are you paddling or, what are we doing?
Well, I'll give you an example. It can vary, but I'll give you one example. When I saw this dom, Madam Carmen, she had these gloves that had spikes on the inside of the palm, and then she would just scratch my back with these spikes. Yeah, yeah. She also had a flogger that had barbed wire interweaved into it. So it's so many levels when it comes to this kink community or this kink world. Someone could use a chain, and hit you with a chain if that's your pain threshold. For me, it's usually floggers. These are always fun. They give you a good amount of pain. What else do we get into? I don't have a paddle, but
Listen, the girl got a flogger.
there you go.
Hey,
There you
yours is
go.
much
And
longer.
yeah, I like a little length. I like that. Yeah,
Okay, and so
I like to do
you're
a little
saying
trick.
that the lady that you went to, she had spikes in hers?
She had a flogger bigger than that, but it had barbed wire interweaved into it. Yeah, she used it on me while I was she she hit me right in the middle of my area, but I was wearing boxers, and the barbed wire caught onto my boxers, and just thank God. But I was down for that. I was okay with having that little experience. So
I love it.
yeah.
I absolutely love it. As I was doing my research, I was like, what the fuck is a flogger? And so, of course, I called Madam Wee of Foreplay Matters. Y'all have to follow her as well. And I'm like, can you bring me some shit over here? Because I need to be prepared. I need to know. But yeah, I could see how, one would enjoy this experience of being flogged and all of that. So let's talk more about the fear play of it all in the kink or BDSM community.
Yeah, it can be very psychological. So that's
Mm.
my favorite part of it. Like a dom could be all the way across the room, but because of what they told you and what you felt earlier in the session, you won't move. You won't talk without permission. Um, as far as fear goes, we had the lights out, like the regular lights were out. There were only red lights on in the room, and she would stomp on the floor with her heels to make it sound like she was far away, and then nothing, and I would get a hit on my back. So I didn't know where she was in the room. I couldn't see her. I could just hear that she was walking, and then I would get a hit. So sensory deprivation is one of the biggest ways that people go about administering fear. Basically, I'll blindfold you so you can't see me, and all you can go off is what you hear. So I might take my shoes off so you don't hear my footsteps. And the only time, there you go with the blindfold. You gotta have a blindfold.
Listen, the
Blindfolds are a
bitch
must.
came prepared tonight, okay?
Yes.
Shit.
Sensory deprivation. It can even go crazier than that. You could put headphones on somebody to where they can't hear anything, and you blindfold them. Yeah, I know a dude, Sir Marvelous, out in New Jersey. He puts noise cancellation headphones on, and he'll blindfold you, so you can't hear, you can't see. All you can do is feel.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
we got some questions in the chat. Come on.
Okay, so King Buddha says, so when does the sex come in, or is this supposed to bring you to your climax?
So this is a great question because due to the nature of dominatrixes and doms, a lot of people do believe that sex is involved. But the funny thing is, people pay $300, $500, $1,000 just to get whipped, just to get spanked, just to get choked. That is the pleasure for them. A lot of doms and dominatrixes actually don't partake in penetration or any form of sex between them and the client. Believe it or not, yeah. That when it comes to the world of sex work, that's a different level of it. That's escorting on another level. But doms and dominatrixes, the pleasure in it for people is that pain. And the funny thing about it is, if you really break it down, it's like, imagine someone that you're immensely attracted to, and they won't have sex with you. The closest form of intimacy that you will get with them is them smacking you in the face. You'll take it.
Wow.
Some people will take it. They'll say, and Mistress Marley, shout out to Mistress Marley, she just did an interview kind of stating the same thing. Like, you as a dom or a dominatrix, you present yourself as someone who's so desirable but so unwilling at the same time. So people are willing to take whatever you'll give them. And we've seen that trope in society. A man is willing to let a woman call him names because that's the only way that she'll talk to him. So this is a different level of it where men are like, I know that you would never look at me on a regular day, but I will pay you to step on my nuts. I will pay you to smack me in the face. Some men actually pay to be ignored. There's another dom named Goddess Rue. Men pay her to ignore them. They'll call her and talk to her, and she just ignores them, or they'll pay her to text her and just be left on red. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I am in the wrong fucking business, okay? Like, I got to start leaving motherfuckers on red, all right? What was another question, Nightlife, before I get to the list of my questions?
Okay, Pray Grind Bless says, my question is, y'all men dislike masculine women. So isn't dominating as a form of being masculine?
I love this question because there's a lot going on with the gender wars. You got the manosphere and you got the hypergamy and the Kevin Samuels fans and all of that stuff. And I know that there's a lot of gender wars going on, but in the kink community, this is the one place where we don't really have those issues. Masculine women are appreciated. If you're a 6 foot tall woman with muscles and you like to wrestle, there's guys out there who will pay money for that. If you're a 5 foot tall woman, but you're dominant, there are men who will pay for that. Whatever it is, like, that's what I love about this, sex work in the kink community. No matter what it is that you got going on, someone is into it. Mm-hmm. So masculine women definitely have a place, and they make bank. They make bank in the kink community because people like that mommy vibe. There's men out there with mommy issues who want to be held by a woman. So, the kink community strays far away from the typical masculine and feminine gender identities. It could get real interesting over here.
Wow. So let's go back to the whole climax thing. I think my question is, so it doesn't necessarily have to be penetration, but if you are the sub, right? Are you having an orgasm when these things are happening to you?
I think that
do you get harder? I mean, what? I need to understand.
So in my sessions, I didn't actually ever have an erection because I was so enthralled by what was going on to my body. But as far as like other people, some people do get an erect or have an orgasm based off of what's occurring. just hearing what's being whispered in their ears, being choked, being scratched, being whipped. Sometimes those things alone can cause an orgasm. Me personally, the thrill for me was the pain. I didn't get any erections, but some people do come from the pain because that's just enough for them. But typically, in a dom or a dominatrix situation, sex is not, involved or on the table. That kind of keeps the business practice legitimate.
Yeah. Let's talk about choking.
Mm-hmm.
We hit on that a little earlier. Earlier today, I had someone tell me that they enjoyed, they were having sex in the car, and they enjoyed having that seatbelt wrapped around their neck and being choked and penetrated at the same time. And it just was the best experience that they had. So I think, okay, that's one scenario. I think I like, grabbing the girl a little bit right here, maybe choking up.
Right.
But a bitch got asthma.
Mm.
And when I can't breathe, if I'm having an asthma attack, ain't nothing pleasurable about it.
Right.
A bitch can't breathe. I mean, inhaling, you got to let me go. And so, where do you draw the line? Because it could go left.
Correct.
Quick.
Correct. And that's why, you check in with somebody, you start light. Like me, if I'm going to choke my partner, I'm going to start light and just put my hands lightly around their neck. And then they will let you know if they want you to squeeze it harder. Sometimes they'll say, oh, so you can go harder. And then you squeeze harder. Okay. But then you also got to be mindful. I don't know. I try to be mindful. I try to think people can't breathe for too long with your hand on their neck. So let it go sometimes and then go back. Do it intermittently. But they'll definitely let you know. Always do everything in the beginning. Start light and then escalate. Never go crazy. I think a lot of men could benefit from that advice when it comes to sex. Like, start slow, bro. Take your time. Warm it up. So that's what I would say. But then someone like you, see, if this was our first date, I would ask you, what makes you come? And if you don't say anything about choking, I would ask, what about being choked? And then you would say, I have asthma. And I would say, okay, well, we'll try it then. We'll see how you feel about it. Yeah.
I love this openness, that you are, it allows for a level of comfortability, if you will, that I really, really adore. Come on, Nightlife.
Yeah, earlier there were quite a few people that made comments as to that consent, communication, consistency, compromise, all the C's. That was from.
I love it. All the C's. Very good. So I don't know if any of you all had saw the promo flyer for tonight's Come Get Kinky with KiKi show. That's a tongue twister. But in that promo flyer, I got some footage off of your page that I thought was quite interesting. And I looked at it because you were being dominated, it appeared. And the person y'all got to check out the promo for this show. The person had a plastic bag on your head and was suffocating your ass.
Yeah.
And then I saw you kind of tap their hand, like, bitch, let me go. Bitch, get me free. And then you kind of just felt like, oh, I can take my breath again. Please explain what the hell happened there.
So that was actually part 2 to a part 1. There's a dominatrix named Nymphy Enchantress. And we shot a scene where I ripped her mask. And that's a big deal. Well, it's actually called the hood. They don't call it a mask. They call it a hood. She had this really nice latex hood, really nice, expensive latex hood. And I ripped it. That was the storyline for the scene. And then I made her give me a blowjob. That was the scene that we had. So then this was her revenge. So she caught me slipping in this hotel. And what she did was she tied my hands up, and then she started by putting the plastic bag over my head, choking me. Then she took a staple gun and stapled pictures to my chest. Then she hit me with a kendo stick. All of that. That was her revenge. But it was something that we both agreed upon prior. But yeah, what that's called is asphyxiation. Whenever you stop somebody from breathing, that's just general asphyxiation. So a plastic bag, same thing as choking somebody almost. It falls in lines of asphyxiation. The seatbelt around the neck, asphyxiation. You just want to always make sure that you're in control of it. And we both knew that if it got hectic, she would just, pop the hole in the mouth and I'd be able to breathe. So yeah, just for fun.
Wow. and so does she get off? Like, did she come on your back? Because she was riding your back. Did she get
was.
off on it?
This is a great question. I'm not sure if she orgasms from the pain, but from what I know, most women who are dominatrixes, their joy is the empowerment, the stepping on this man. Men, we live in a patriarchal society, right? So as a dom, that's pleasure, to be able to step on a man, to be able to kick him around, to know that he's not in control of this. You're taking his money. He answers to you, So that's from what I know, some of the joy that they get out of it.
Wow. Let's talk about fire play.
Ooh, fire play. Okay, yeah.
What's up with that? The fire play. Tell us more about it.
So fire play is one of those things where you got to definitely make sure you've had some practice, before you get involved with it. It's different from wax play with candles. Fire play is literally when someone lights a wick or some sort of like a koi thing, and with that fire, they put it against your body. I was told from Sir Marvelous, a dom out in Jersey, that he was able to take that fire and make a woman come by just like lightly tinging areas around her, her vagina, like her thighs with the fire, because people aren't used to feeling that. It's a different sensation. It's like warm and hot at the same time. So it's not extremely dangerous. It's not like you're using a blowtorch. You have a little flame. It's a low lit flame that you play with, and you just put the flame on someone's body. It's not enough to burn them.
Okay. And then I heard the wax, like I heard people have orgasms from the waxing. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, I've dabbled with that before, like using the candle while you're having sex. I'm not sure what it is. Oh, so if you're listening to this, I have to give you this warning. You cannot use a regular candle for wax play. It will burn and leave marks, and they might have to go to the hospital. There are specific candles for wax play. And these candles, they burn at a lower temperature and they allow the wax to fall off. I think what I've been told about the sensation is it's something that's really hot that lands on your body for a moment. Mm-hmm. But then it's a candle, right? So it keeps burning and it keeps dripping. So little hot things dripping all over your body. And you can play with it. You can go from the legs to the thighs, to the inner thighs, to the stomach, to the breast area, and just drop these little hot dots all over their body. Wow. And cause these little sensations. Yeah, it's a form of sensation play, I would say, because they're feeling those little dots wherever you put it. So you got to be a good commander when you're doing something like that.
Wow. Oh my goodness. All right. I tell you, fire play, fear play, the wax, the choking, the asphyxiation. It's a lot. I can see how it's very intense.
Yeah.
I can see how you all, could really, it heightens the experience for you. You talked about the staples in your chest. Do you still have scars from some of the shit you've experienced?
No, the staples, they didn't leave any major marks. I just so happen to also be like a really big fan of pro wrestling. So little things like getting a stapler, attached to me, or getting hit with light bulbs or kendo sticks. These are things that I kind of admired and have watched throughout my life. So I kind of know how to be safe with them in a way. Yeah. So, yeah.
All right. So let's talk about the term pegging and how that works. And because you will hear that some men shy away from the oral play and all of that, but then some really love it. Let's talk about that.
Right. So pegging is the idea of, to the best of my knowledge, usually a woman, someone who identifies as a woman wearing a strap on and pegging a man, typically. I don't know the dictionary term for it, but it's usually a woman with a strap on and they're, can I curse?
Yeah, it's a damn shame. Fuck yeah.
It's a damn shame. It's usually a woman with a strap on who's penetrating a man's, anus. Anus. I'll try to be
His
PC.
asshole.
Yeah. Typically, I don't know if a woman can peg a woman. They don't usually use that term in that way. Could be possible, but pegging is just a man who has a desire to have his anus penetrated by a woman. I have dabbled in it. I didn't fully enjoy what I experienced, but supposedly a man's G-spot is in his butthole.
Yeah.
So supposedly that's supposed to be the biggest source of pleasure for a man. And the reason why a lot of men are foolish is because they're denying themselves that pleasure. That's what a lot of women who peg claim. So some people start with the finger hole. Finger in the booty hole. They'll start with licking and stuff like that. We got a new era of women coming out. There's women who are coming out who want to eat men's assholes. They want to stick their fingers in men's assholes. They want to peg men. So some men, I've heard some men are saving their booty hole for marriage.
It is creating that safe environment. Okay,
Right.
I get it. I
Lucy
get it.
Fashion said yes, milk him.
Milk him.
Yeah, milking is when you're like, you got one finger in his booty hole and you're like, buttholes are, wow. I call the butthole a finger hole. Okay. Anyways, milking is when you're like, you're giving them a blowjob and also sticking your finger in there and then alternating from giving them head and like licking their butthole and trying to get them to come, the ultimate come with your finger in their G-spot and you stroking them off. I'm doing a bad interpretation of it, but
no, it's good.
Yeah, it's one finger in the asshole and then you're also like stroking the man. Yeah, there's a lot of women out there who, in porn, if you watch hood porn, I watch hood porn, right? Just to be candid. If something is happening in hood porn, that means that it is starting to become normal. So I'm seeing like men who look like they just got out of jail, letting shorties who look like they, strip or bartend, eating their asshole. So I know it's a thing right now. I know it's a thing.
Nice. I have not seen hood porn, but that really is interesting to me.
Hood porn is some of the best porn in existence.
Shit, I'm going.
Twitter porn is kind of hood porn. Yeah. You never watch amateur porn, KiKi?
Yeah, I go to you porn.
Good. So I'm pretty sure you've seen people in the hood, but yeah, that's hood porn.
Okay.
Just amateurs in the hood. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Listen, I'm learning. This is some good shit. I hope y'all are enjoying this VIP lounge tonight. I'm telling you, share this live. This is some good shit. And we are taking our sexual levels to a new heights. Okay.
Hey KiKi, I got some questions in the Facebook and YouTube. If you don't mind me jumping in there. One question says, can you get so kinky that you can't enjoy simple, good old fashioned sex anymore? Like, can you go so to the left that's the only way you can get off?
Yeah, some people can condition themselves because it's psychological at the end of the day, right? So some people can condition themselves to only get off to one specific thing. That's why moderation is key always. But yeah, it is possible. It is definitely possible to push yourself to a point where only latex will get you hot or only being choked will make you come. It's very possible.
And we got one more question. It says, Rocco, you guys are talking a lot about different types of kinky play. What's your favorite?
So the question for IG is, what is Rocco's favorite kinky play? We talked about so many.
All right. So I don't engage in it a lot, but my favorite would be wrestling. like having a girl that I can tumble around with and we kind of tear each other's clothes off or fight to make the other person come. It's like you're fighting for control.
Yeah.
So it's a consensual act, but it's, we're rolling around, we're tumbling around. And if I can dominate you, I'm going to pull your panties to the side and start to finger you. And then you might be like, no, I'm going to dominate you. And then like pull your dick out and start stroking it. And then I'm like, nah. So that's my favorite form of kinky play. You need space and someone who's capable of tussling with you to do it. But it's like y'all are both fighting to fuck each other.
I love it. I love it. We got a comment on IG.
It says a woman actually wanting to play in a man's ass. She needs to be careful because that's DO action.
And that's the thing that, a lot of men are afraid of being considered, not masculine by allowing a woman to do it. So that's why there's a lot of women now who are saying like, hey, it's okay, just like being pegged or being milked. Like they try to let men know if you want a woman to do it to you, it's not necessarily gay. Because I mean, I'm a heterosexual man, but I know for a fact that it would be easier for me to have sex with a man than it would to get a woman to do something to me. You know what I'm saying? Like it would be easier for me to have a man, penetrate my asshole than it would be to convince a heterosexual woman to put on a strap on and fuck me in the butt. You know what I mean? That's just putting it in layman's terms. That's what I believe.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's what scares a lot of men from doing it. They're afraid of being considered gay. So.
Would you say that the most people in the kink community are sexually fluid?
Interesting question. Shoot. I'll say that you'll find more people in the kink community that are fluid. Because I recently found out that someone that I admired, I thought that they were totally hetero. And then I found out that they make content with trans women and gay men. And I didn't know that. Like, this dude is very dominant, big, strong black man. And I've seen him at play parties, like just pounding pussy, And I had no idea that he had sex with men too. So I would say you're more likely to find people who are, but I don't know. I wouldn't say a majority because like me, I'm just straight up like hetero. And I know that's boring, right? I know people look at me as like a unicorn person and it's like, oh, he's just straight. Sorry. But I am. But yeah, you'll definitely find more than in regular life. Yeah.
Tell me this. You talked about these play parties. I have explored sex clubs. I've never been to a private sex party, but I definitely want to go. I want to see what the fuck goes on. But the sex club, it amazed me of all the different rooms and what was going on in the rooms and all of that. I guess I'm a voyeur where I like to watch. First of all, I'm nosy as fuck, okay? So that's part of my problem, okay? And I just wanted to see, what are these people doing? What is going on? And then I happened to go during a fun time. It was like Halloween, so people were really in costumes, and it was like, and then you had a whole section where they were line dancing in the sex club. I said, well, goddamn, they doing electric slide. Like, I'm confused.
It's a club, so you might as well dance, right?
You might as well dance. And I found it so interesting. What is the difference between a sex club and a play party?
All right. Well, the only reason why I'm going to say that this is also a great question is because I've never been to a sex club, but I've seen pictures of them. I follow a couple of sex clubs. I would say, to the best of my knowledge, a play party, from what I've seen, it can be kind of no holds barred. Whereas, like, I don't know what they do in sex clubs, but at play parties, people can be fucking, there could be orgies going on, stuff like that. Because it's not held at, like, an establishment that has a liquor license and stuff like that. You know what I mean? They're usually held in places that are off the map. You know what I mean? Sex clubs, from what I know, they're places that have the instruments there, always accessible, and you'll always know the location of a sex club. A sex party, the details are only being given out to the people who bought tickets. The address is only being given out to people who bought tickets. Sometimes they get real discreet with it, and they say like, hey, everybody got to park their car here, and we're going to have a shuttle pick you up from the parking lot to take you to the actual house. Like, sex parties are a little bit more discreet. Sometimes they have themes, and they try to protect the people who are there. So, for example, it'll be like a couples sex party. So only couples can come. As opposed to a sex club, anybody can go to the sex club. But if someone's having a sex party for couples or throuples only, that'll be the theme of that. So just more discretion.
Okay. So tell us about the tips of what to bring to a play party.
Yes. So going to a sex party is crazy, right? It's like going to be, it's like you're jumping through the screen and you're in a porno, like you're in a real life porno. So I would say bring something that you're familiar with, like a toy that you might want someone to use on you, or that you want to use on somebody. Like you said, you like your bullet, right?
It's like, girl, go home with this little shit.
No, you would let somebody know, I like this. This is what I like. And they'll say, okay, great. They might even open up a suitcase with other vibrators and say, since you like that, maybe I could use one of these on you. And you'll say, okay. And then you'll go sit down with that person and have fun. And that's why I say you should bring a toy. Even if they don't use it on you, they know what you like. They know what you're looking for. So I would start there. Definitely bring the condoms that you like to use or that you like to be used on you. I was at a play party. They have condoms there, but they might not be the condoms that you want to use. I know some women are allergic to latex. So they need to have lambskin condoms. And you know, brothers ain't walking around with no lambskin condoms. So that's why you want to, definitely make sure you have the condoms that can be used on you. Sports drinks or snacks. Some play parties may or may not have catering. You might have traveled a long distance to get there. Bring some protein bars. Bring some power bars. Yeah, bring some Gatorade. Bring some water. That's something I recommend. You don't want to be malnourished. Lubricant. You might think that you're a one and done person, but at a play party, what I notice happens is like after you do your thing and you finish, because you're in this energy where all these other people having sex sometimes, you want to go again and again and again. So I definitely recommend lubricant so that you can maintain that, keep everything nice and wet and slippery. And then last but not least, I recommend towels for obvious reasons. I saw a girl use those puppy pads. People who have their dogs inside the house, they usually have puppy pads. Somebody used one of those on a bed so that when they were done fucking, there wasn't a big wet spot.
Okay.
So, yeah, those things come in handy more than you would think.
Wow. So someone is in the comments, Ginger, she says, play parties are usually at dungeon sex clubs, mostly catered to swingers. Do you find that there are a lot of swingers there, or?
I would say that a sex club, usually you do have to have some sort of a membership to it. And that would definitely, fall in line where it's couples trying to experiment with other couples. The thing that I went out to in Maryland, I think it was a sex club, but they let people have play parties. Whereas it's really just the difference in the crowd. Whereas like a play party will be different individuals every time, but the sex club will have consistent people all the time. So yes, Ginger is absolutely right.
Okay. Now tell me this. Let's talk more about fetishes and how this all works in the kink community.
So the fetishes are what will allow you to like align with the person you allow you to align with the person that's going to dominate you. So if you have a fetish for, like I mentioned, masculine women, you're going to make sure that your dom is a 6 foot tall woman with muscles or something like that. So the fetish is the idea of giving an inanimate object or a certain trait magical powers. So you just think that maybe taller women are more worthy of dominating you. So fetishes do play a part in being a kinkster because those are the things that you naturally align with. Those are the things that you find the most attractive.
Do you find that they're all different types of people in these kink spaces, or do you see big girls in there? Do you see? I hear that you see tall girls, and then like, do some people that might not typically be your type, you'd be like, no, or you might have an opportunity to try out somebody that you wouldn't ordinarily be with.
I would say that happens a lot. So yes, to answer your question, all different types of people. You go to a kink party like me, I'm myself, and people know me as me, right? I'm publicly me. But then you go to a kink party and you say like, hey, what's your Instagram? And they say, no. This stays here. I'm not like this outside of this. So you can't know me, right? So you got those people. We got corporate people. We got the squares, the white collar people who partake. And then, yes, you do have people of different body types. And I will say, as I mentioned earlier, that the kink community or play parties are great spaces to explore. So if you're a man and you don't usually date big women, you might see a big girl that night where you're like, yo, you know what? They actually look pretty damn good. Let me get involved in that, Or you might not typically be in a tall woman, but this tall woman is wearing latex. You have a fetish for latex and she's wearing it. So now you're interested, by seeing other people that you weren't usually interested in, partaking in something that you are interested in. That's how you can mix up your taste, if you will. So
have you ever explored with somebody and then said, well, you thought it was going to be really, really good, and then you're like, oh, that was garbage, that was trash, it was whack?
I will say that, yeah, I like a couple of years ago, I was at a party. It's not something that I was excited about, so to speak, just like a random encounter. And I could barely remember it. Like when I think about that whole event that I was at, I forgot that I had sex with this one girl because of what you just said. Yeah, it was very like, whatever. Yeah. And then when I see her, I'm like, wow, we had sex. And I just totally block it out of my mind. Like, I don't even remember it.
I can think of some motherfuckers that I'd be like, oh, damn, I fucked him. I forgot all about it. It was forgettable,
yes.
That is totally funny. Totally funny. I'm telling y'all, I hope y'all have enjoyed this conversation tonight. Come Get Kinky with KiKi is to a whole another level. Let's talk about the toys, more of the toys. Do you have any other props or toys there that you want to introduce us to?
Definitely want to talk about and this is like a basic version of it, but collars and leashes.
Yes.
They come in handy. No matter how thin or light they might be. Also, one of my favorites, these are bracelets and anklets, and you intermingle them so that someone's hand is connected to their ankle, both of their ankles, and they kind of look like they're hog-tied. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, this is always fun,
What is that?
So they can't speak.
Ah, I love it.
Yeah. We got these little nipple clamps. I don't know if y'all can see those little nipple clamps. Some people, like having their nipples clamped down.
Can we open that?
Yes. And they have little bells on them too. So just put them in the bag so I don't lose them. But
wow.
Yeah. And you can change the intensity. Yeah. You can keep them loose or you can make them really tight on the nipple. And they have little balls. So you can get real, intricate with these. These have been requested.
Jingling, baby. I love it.
What else we got? I have a mask. Sometimes people feel different when they're wearing a mask because they feel like what's happening to them isn't happening to them. It's happening to this other identity. So sometimes the mask allows people to be just way more comfortable. Sometimes people want to film content with people who don't want their face to be seen. So the mask comes in handy. I always keep a mask on deck. Let's see. This is another blindfold here, but it's satin.
I have that.
Yeah. Hey, there we go. Hey. This is just a different texture. Getting kinky with KiKi. What else we got? I've used this before. I've used this to tickle.
I heard that.
Hey, you got the little starter kit. There we go. And you
Tell
know,
them I'm amateur.
no, but yeah, you gotta listen.
And
You
so, what
like,
does this do? Because I was like, this treasure troll shit. Like, come on.
so I feel like it has more effect when you when someone else is doing it, but they can tickle your feet, tickle your toes, tickle. I used it around the thigh area, the under thigh area before.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's just a little tickle tool.
Okay.
What else do we have? Let me see. I have another blindfold. We got some rope just in case. Got the ball
So
and
the
get.
rope. Let's talk about that. I heard a gauntlet tie or something.
Well, there are different ways to tie somebody up. There's actually someone named Bond. Oh, someone asked, were these disposable masks? Yes, kinda. Depending on what you're doing it. I mean, I don't really make different people wear a mask someone else might have wore. If you wore it, you get to keep it. That's how I get down in the kink world. But when it comes to the ropes, there are different ways to tie people up. You could just do a basic, regular, you're my hostage, I'm gonna tie your hands behind your back. Some people like to get intricate with their knots and try to make it look more like a design. So that way when you take the rope off, your skin has like a little pattern in it.
Okay.
To appreciate afterwards, yeah.
Wow. Do you ever think that because most toys are designed for women, do you ever think that the male sex toys will be normalized?
I think that it's unfortunate that there are double standards, but sex toys is one place where they do kind of exist. I've experimented with them. I would feel comfortable with talking to my friends about them, but I think it's just a matter of male comfort because the toys are sophisticated. They got the Gawk Gawk 3000 as a toy. You can get a toy that wraps around your penis and goes up and down and twists around.
Yeah.
Some of them have water pressure too, you
Wow.
know? Yeah. But, are men comfortable with spending $300 on a sex toy? Some men are. Some men, outside of toys, they experiment with 360 porn. They'll use the Oculus goggles.
Yes.
So it could feel like they're in the porno themselves. But guys feel weird, engaging too deep into whatever they find to be a sexual interest. Because, we live in a patriarchal society and men have been known to be hypersexual, oversexual, or known to sexualize everything. I think a lot of men are afraid of going that deep into it. The fear of being considered a creep.
Yeah. So you've talked about how to prepare to go to these parties, these play parties. You don't typically have to have sex.
Right.
You can, just be there exploring and trying different things. I think we've learned a lot. We've learned about the fear play and oral asphyxiation and just so many things.
So many things.
Here is one parting final question that I have for you tonight is how can you safely explore, and we touched on it a little bit, but if you wanted to lend some parting words to the people in the VIP lounge, what would you say to them about getting into this kink lifestyle and doing it in such a way that it's safe?
Got it. So I would say, first and foremost, make sure you have the best intentions. I came into the kink community as someone who just wanted to kind of explore the different levels of sex because I realized like just regular sex was cool, but what else is there? I didn't want to wait until I was a 40 or a 50-year-old man trying to reinvigorate my sex life to learn about all these different things. I wanted to get ahead of the game. So have the best intentions. Start out as a student, and that's why I call myself an enthusiast because I want people to know I'm excited to be here, but I'm also willing to learn. I don't know everything. I'm not an expert. Never act like you know it all. There's always something new to learn. And try to, I said have good intentions, but try not to have crazy expectations. Allow the world to show you what it is if
Yeah.
you're gonna get involved. Yeah.
Absolutely. I like that. So, tonight, you have just opened our eyes to so much when it comes to the kink community. And I really, really thank you for being willing to come on Damn Shame Podcast to talk about this. We are going to take our sexual pleasures to a new level. And you have helped us with this, all of the helpful tips and everything. I just thoroughly enjoyed it. I hope you all have. Be sure to hit that like button, that subscribe button, or that follow button to be able to follow both Damn Shame Podcast and at Rocco Sensei, Rocco underscore Sensei, SENSEI. And so, as every week, I like to leave you with a motivational thought. And tonight's motivational thought is rejuvenate. It's time to stop what we do. Stop the routine, the mundane things that we do in our sex lives, in bed, both in and out of the bed, right? And look for ways to rejuvenate ourselves, whether it be sexually or just in life in general. Do not be afraid to explore the unfamiliar. Go to those play parties. Find out where they are. How can they find out where they are?
I follow a couple of pages, Orgasm Experiences, Naughty Nights NYC. Ask around, follow dancers, follow sex workers in your area. They will usually maybe clue people in to where those sex parties are. But I follow two specific pages that usually put me on.
Absolutely, absolutely. And follow Rocco underscore Sensei. He will be able to, tell you maybe give you some ideas, some thoughts that are in your area. But just don't be afraid to explore the unfamiliar. You just might learn something new. So rejuvenate yourself. Y'all, I thank y'all for watching. I thank y'all for being in the VIP lounge. We will be live again on Monday, April 17th for another exciting, thrilling show. You can catch the replay at Damn Shame Podcast on Facebook and YouTube. And we are also streaming on all podcast platforms if you want to listen to us. But if you want to see this sexy man's face right here, out he's a whole lot of eye candy. Y'all be sure to tune in, catch the replay. Tell a friend that we are here and that you all have enjoyed tonight and what you've experienced. Again, Damn Shame Podcast on all social media platforms and all podcast platforms. Rocco Seymour on YouTube for his Rated R podcast, and at Rocco underscore Sensei on Instagram. I love y'all for watching. Ow, ow. Hey, it's a Damn Shame Podcast. Yes.